Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and this is my 2007 Pontiac G6. Now, I'm making this video for a couple different reasons. First of all, I feel like this car never gets any attention on the channel, and rightfully so. It's not that cool or unique of a car. Really, it blends into any urban environment. But I feel like it deserves a little bit of screen time. I mean, it's held up really well for me. The second reason is that I recently crossed 100,000 miles of ownership. This car has been in my family since 2011, and since then, as a family, we've put on 100,000 miles. Me personally, when it became my car, I have since put on 35,000 miles, all on my own. So today I'm going to be talking about some of the issues that we've had with the car, and this is by no means meant to say that this is a bad car or any of that. I'm just pointing out what has gone wrong. So if you're looking into buying one, or if you have one yourself, you kind of know what to expect. So without further ado, this car has been great to me, but let's take a look at what has gone wrong over 100,000 miles. But before we actually get into it, let's get the basics down. This is my 2007 Pontiac G6 4-door. It's the 2.4 liter Ecotec inline 4-cylinder, 4-speed automatic, and it has 161,000 miles on it. First, we'll talk about what's gone wrong under the hood. Well, honestly, not that much. The first thing that really went wrong was the cam positioning sensor. And that was actually an issue for a while. It had the check engine light. We never really did anything about it because the car drove totally fine and we kind of neglected that. When we did get it fixed, it was the cam positioning sensor, and that was it. It was a relatively cheap sensor. We brought it to the dealership and got that done. The second issue under the hood has been one time somehow it leaked all of its oil out. I don't know if it burned it, leaked it, or whatever, but I checked the dipstick. It was completely dry because the car was making a weird noise. So filled it up with oil, and it's been good ever since. It never has leaked a drop since then. All right, so now that we're in the car, a couple of things have gone wrong in here as well. First and foremost, the steering is electric power steering, and the pump actually went out and it would violently shake. I don't know if the pump was misreading something or whatever, but the electric power steering actually had to be serviced on this, and that was quite a while ago. That was probably around the 100,000 mile mark. This car has 161,000 on it now, so that was serviced by GM itself. The trunk release button has broken and is still broken. Not sure why, not sure if it's the button or the wiring or whatnot. If you have a G6, let me know if your trunk release button is also broken. Over here, the stereo Seek Next button, the light has gone out, as well as the paint on the buttons has started to flake off. That's just a GM interior. It doesn't change the fact, except actually now that I think about it, the CD player did break as well. The CD player wouldn't eject CDs, and then so I'd put one in and then I couldn't get it out, but then it would also not read that CD, so it kind of got stuck in limbo. So I actually invested the $13 into a radio transmitter, and I haven't really messed with the CD player since. All right, now that we're in the back seat of the G6, since this is the 4-door variant, the only real issue is the back of this seat. As you can see, it has almost completely come off. There used to be pegs that would hold it in. Now, I don't know if those pegs have fallen out or whatnot. I don't know if someone broke this getting out of my car or what, because obviously I don't ride in the back, but this has gone wrong. And unfortunately, GM's interiors aren't the best, and I guess after 160,000 miles, pegs start coming loose. Now, living in the Chicagoland area, this car has actually fared rather decently with rust. This is probably the worst spot here, and it's bubbling from here all the way down, and you can obviously see paint has come off here. And it stops actually like right about here, and then it bubbles here to here. I tried to plasti dip over it for a winter to try to slow down the rust, and then there's a little bit right here. It's the same story on the other side of the car. It's not as bad, and it doesn't really carry into the actual well of the door. But it's something to be mindful of if you're either looking for a G6 or anything like that. This seems to be a pretty common area for rust, and there's a little bit down here, but it's still solid, which is good. All right, actually one thing I totally forgot about until I got home, because it happened, was the headlights seem to have an issue. Basically, you think that they're out, and then you hit them, and they turn back on. Basically, the connections in the headlight aren't the best. And so I believe my dad resoldered them, and we haven't had an issue literally until tonight after I finished the problem video. So once we fix those connections, we've never had an issue again with the headlights. The last issue that we've had with the car has to do with the exhaust. And it's not actually a tailpipe, it's actually up front, but this is the only part where you can see the exhaust, so I filmed it here. And that's the flex pipe. Actually coming off of the header of the engine, there's a flex pipe to allow the engine to vibrate, and it wouldn't break the pipe or vibrate the rest of the exhaust. Well, that flex pipe has broken twice. It split and actually created an exhaust leak, made this car really loud. We've gotten that fixed twice. I think it's been $100 each time. And I believe the second one happened within warranty, so it was actually only $100 once. But that was just something, I don't know if other G6 owners have dealt with that, but it did break a flex pipe twice. And it hasn't happened since. And that was probably about 50,000 miles ago. So far so good. Now let's get to the annoyances. These are the things that I've just noticed while driving the car. They're not issues, they're not problems, they're just annoying. My first and largest annoyance with this car is the lack of cruise control. I've racked up most of my miles on road trips. I've taken this from Chicago to Kentucky, Indiana, Kansas, Texas, up north to Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. I've taken this pretty much all over the Midwest. And on all of those trips, I have not had cruise control. And so if there's one thing I could add to this car, it would be cruise control. Now I understand the higher trim levels had that, but being a base model still in 2007, no cruise control. An annoyance under the hood has been the oil filters. The oil filters are this paper style that you clip in, and then there's a ring that you have to put onto the cap and screw it down. Well, if that ring is not seated properly, it will leak from the oil filter. It's very common. Couple oil changes that I've done myself, because I do my own oil changes. If I don't secure it properly, it leaks oil for a couple days, and then I say, oh, you know, it's been leaking oil, tighten that down, never had an issue besides that. Another annoyance under the hood is the coolant and the transmission fluid. There's no way to check the transmission fluid. It's a dealer thing. Unfortunately, as someone who likes to wrench on their cars, as I do, I can't change the trans fluid. I can't even check the transmission fluid. And with the coolant, there's no way to drain the coolant efficiently. You have to suck it out of the top. Again, another annoyance, just a little screw at the bottom of the radiator would have been very helpful. But unfortunately, the 2.4 liter doesn't have that. But overall, I really can't complain about the G6. It's never been on a flatbed. It's never had to be towed. It started up in very negative degree weather here in Chicago. It started on the hottest of days, coldest of days. The air conditioning still works. The heat still works. It's still a running, driving car. And so if you're interested in getting a G6, honestly, I don't have any overhanging complaints. It's worked great for me. It's 4 wheels, an engine, and it can carry up to 5 of my friends. And honestly, I've made some of the best memories in this car, packed full of people. As a matter of fact, I've gotten 2 speeding tickets in my life, both in this and not in my RX-7. Yeah, I have an RX-7 that's red, and I've gotten 2 speeding tickets in this and never in the RX-7. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have a G6 of your own, please leave your mileage down in the comments section down below and tell me what's gone wrong on yours. If I have common issues, or maybe my power steering was a one-of-a-kind problem. I'm not quite sure, but please leave it in the comments section down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys. All right, I'm not kidding. While I've been filming this, a public safety van came by, and the guy asked, "Are you selling it?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just making a video about it." And he said, "Oh, I wanted to be the first bid." Why is it now that no one's ever wanted to bid on this thing?